This is my audience. This is a persuasive speech on household hazardous waste. Americans generate 1.6 million tons of household hazardous waste per year. The average home can accumulate as much as 100 pounds of household hazardous waste, according to the City of Coppell's Waste Management. Household hazardous waste are sometimes disposed of improperly by pouring them down the drain, on the ground, into storm sewers, or putting them out with the trash. The dangers of such disposal methods may not be immediately obvious, but improper disposal of these wastes can pollute the environment and pose a threat to our health. We cannot control every bit of hazardous waste that is disposed of improperly, but we can control the amount of hazardous waste that comes out of our homes. According to my recent survey, 90% of the class knew what hazardous materials were, but they did not know where and how to dispose of them properly. Today I'm going to tell you about the dangers of hazardous waste and ways you can dispose of hazardous waste properly. So let's look at the dangers of hazardous waste, which are damaging to the environment and damaging to our health. First, there's damage to the environment. According to Earth 911, when a rechargeable battery ends up in a landfill, over time its heavy metal content will seep into and contaminate nearby groundwater, soil, and surface water. When the heavy metal contents are introduced into the environment via air and water, they can easily find their way into the food chain. The effects of mercury exposure on wildlife can include mortality, reduced fertility, slower growth and development, and abnormal behavior that affects survival depending on the level of exposure. Not only will disposing of hazardous waste improperly pollute the environment, but it can damage our health as well. Long-term exposure to mercury can result in symptoms that get progressively worse and lead to personality changes, stupor, and coma, according to Earth 911. The EPA says chronic exposure occurs over a much longer period of time, usually with repeated exposures to smaller amounts. An acute exposure is a single exposure to a hazardous substance for a short time in which health symptoms may appear immediately after exposure. This is an ongoing problem, but we can prevent the pollution to our environment. So now let's look at the ways to dispose of hazardous waste properly, which include increasing awareness and increasing recycling. The first solution is to increase awareness. The best way to become aware, according to the EPA, is to contact your local household hazardous waste facility for instructions on how to properly handle and safely dispose of harmful waste products and materials, such as empty aerosol cans, leftover paint and thinners, used solvents and paint chips, unused garden products like fertilizers and pesticides, and household chemicals. You should also never mix household hazardous waste with other waste or products, as it may become unrecyclable. Incompatible products also might react, ignite, or explode, according to the EPA. Remember to follow any instructions on product labels for proper use, handling, storage, and disposal. Hazardous waste reuse, recycling, and reclamation can avoid environmental hazards, protect scarce natural resources, provide economic benefits, and reduce the nation's reliance on raw materials and energy. When hazardous waste are recycled, less energy is needed to extract, transport, and process raw materials and to manufacture products. Recycling CFLs and other fluorescent bulbs allows the reuse of glass, metals, and other materials that make up fluorescent lights. Virtually all components of a fluorescent bulb, including metal end caps, glass tubing, and phosphorus powder, can be separated and recycled. You check to see if anyone is in the room. After looking over your shoulder, you decide no one will see me pour that expired Roundup down the drain. The odds are, if this is the shortcut for you, for your hazardous waste disposal, then other people are doing it as well. Imagine green mucus-like slime dripping into our main water supply. Now when you turn on your faucet for a relaxing bath, grimy sludge plops out into your clean bathtub. Every cartoon in the world knows if your body touches hazardous waste, you will either grow extra freakish limbs or gain superpowers. Yes, we can all hope for the latter, but in today's world filled with superviruses and cancer ailing over 6.5 million Americans, I do not believe we are that lucky. Today I told you about the dangers of hazardous waste, such as damages to our environment and damages to our health. If we stand up and stand together, there are ways to dispose of hazardous waste properly. We can increase awareness and increase recycling in our own homes and communities. Please do not harm the environment any further by disposing of your hazardous waste improperly. Take the right steps to help our environment and health and our economy. Thank you.